6. A disciple in Joppa. Acts 9:36 calls Dorcas a disciple. That word matters. She was not merely a kind person, she was a follower of Jesus. Her compassion flowed from her faith. She had heard the good news of Christ, that Jesus had come, healed the sick, welcomed the outcast, touched the unclean, fed the hungry, died for sinners, and risen from the dead. She had received mercy, and mercy had changed her. When Dorcas served widows, she was reflecting the heart of Jesus. Jesus saw people others ignored. Jesus touched people others avoided. Jesus fed hungry crowds. Jesus wept with grieving friends. Jesus honored women, children, foreigners, the poor, and the broken. Jesus did not love from a distance. Dorcas followed him with fabric and thread. Her life preached a sermon before her mouth ever spoke. People in Joppa may have asked, "Why does she care so much?" And the answer was, Jesus. Lesson. Christian service is not just kindness, it is witness. When believers serve with humility and compassion, they show the character of Christ. People may not understand a sermon at first, they may not enter a church at first, but they can understand love. Dorcas's good works did not replace the gospel, they displayed the gospel. Jesus said, "By this everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another." John 13:35. Dorcas's love made her discipleship visible. 7. The day sickness entered. But then came a day when Dorcas did not open her door. The widows noticed. At first they thought she was resting. Perhaps she had worked too late. Perhaps she had gone to visit someone. But as the day stretched on, concern began to grow. Naomi came and knocked. No answer. She knocked again. Dorcas. Inside there was only silence. Another woman came, then another. Finally, someone entered and found her lying on her bed, fevered and weak. The news spread quickly. Dorcas is ill. The words moved through Joppa like a cold wind. Women who had once come to her for help now hurried to help her. They brought water, they cooled her forehead, they prayed. Someone sat beside her through the night. Someone whispered psalms. Someone held her hand. Dorcas, who had cared for many, now received care. Her breathing became shallow, her skin burned. Her eyes opened sometimes, but she seemed far away. Naomi leaned close. "Dorcas, we are here." Perhaps Dorcas heard. Perhaps she could not answer. The widows prayed with trembling voices. "Lord, have mercy. Lord, remember your servant. Lord, do not take her from us." But the illness grew stronger. And then, one quiet hour, Dorcas died. The room seemed to stop breathing. No one moved. Then grief broke open. The widows wept, not politely, not quietly. They wept as women who had lost more than a friend. They had lost a sister, a helper, a comfort, a sign of God's kindness in their city. They washed her body, as was the custom, and laid her in an upstairs room. The garments she had made were still in the houses of the poor. Her thread was still on the table. Her work was still unfinished. And her people stood around her, unable to imagine Joppa without her. Lesson: even faithful servants suffer. Dorcas loved God. Dorcas served others. Dorcas was called a disciple. Yet sickness came to her house. The Bible does not teach that good people never suffer. It teaches that God is present in suffering and that He is able to work even in the valley of death. Dorcas's death also reminds us of something tender. Those who serve deeply are deeply missed. A life poured out in love leaves holy evidence behind. 8. The garments they held. In that upstairs room, the widows gathered around Dorcas's body. Someone brought a tunic. "She made this for my grandson," Ruth said, holding it in trembling hands. "He had nothing warm enough, and she stayed awake 2 nights to finish it." Another lifted a cloak. "She gave me this after my husband died. I had sold almost everything." Another held a garment to her chest. "She said the color would make me remember spring." The room filled with cloth and memory. Each garment was evidence. Evidence of love, evidence of time, evidence of sacrifice. Evidence that Dorcas had seen them, evidence that God had comforted them through her. They were not displaying gold or jewels, they were displaying coats and tunics. But in heaven's accounting, those garments were treasures. Naomi touched Dorcas's still hand and whispered, "You clothed us when the world forgot us." One woman said, "What will we do now?" No one answered. Lesson. What will people hold when they remember us? For Dorcas, they held garments, not awards, not titles, not monuments, not riches. They held proof that she had loved them in practical ways. This does not mean everyone must sew clothing. It means a faithful life leaves behind evidence of compassion. Maybe people will remember meals you cooked. Maybe they will remember prayers you prayed. Maybe they will remember rides you gave. Maybe they will remember that you listened when no one else did. Maybe they will remember that you showed up. Love becomes visible through service.